Yes, sir.
Yes.
Thank you.
Hello. Hello, check.
At the heart of Mumbai's bustling suburb Vile, which is considered as the city's educational hub, lies a 100-year-old institution, Parle Vidyalaya Association, which has been serving as a prestigious educational institution for nearly a century.
Parle Vidyalaya, a Marathi medium school, was founded in 1921 with just 4 students to commemorate the memory of late Sri Balagangadhar Tirak, more popularly known as Lokmanya Tirak. The growth of PTVAIM over the last 100 years has been based on core values of student-centric policies, societal demand, ethical dealings, and contemporary education. After starting 3 colleges, the management decided to go up the value chain, and the only logical way to go up the value chain was to start a management school. And therefore, in 2009, Institute of Management was born.
At PTVAIM, we strive to impart the latest and the most relevant knowledge of management theories and practices to our students. We also endeavor to develop and nurture their entrepreneurial and managerial talent. Masters of Management Studies is a 2-year full-time MBA program affiliated to University of Mumbai, and this is our flagship program. Under this program, we offer 5 specializations to our students, which are finance, marketing, HR, IT, and operations. In addition to this, we also offer a 3-year part-time MBA program meant for working executives, which are again in the domain of HR, finance, and marketing.
Each of our classrooms is air-conditioned, ergonomically designed and equipped with latest audiovisual aids enabling comfortable and effective learning environment. Our state-of-the-art computer center is equipped with 103 branded personal computers, adequately supported by 100 Mbps dedicated internet broadband connectivity. It is also equipped with a wide range of latest system software and application software. A LCD projector here allows faculty members to conduct lectures in the computer center as per the requirements of the course. The campus hosts a centralized air-conditioned, multi-purpose seminar hall with a seating capacity of 250 people and a green room. It is adequately equipped with latest technology and uninterrupted power supply, sound systems, video facility, and LCD projector to facilitate guest lectures, seminars, conferences, and workshops. The library functions as the primary information research and repository for all teaching and research activities at the institute. Apart from textbooks and recommended reading material prescribed for each course offered by the institute, the library houses a growing collection of research reports, reference books, handbooks, case studies, and so on. The institute houses
Just a minute. I'll just start, madam.
Good morning and a warm welcome to all esteemed dignitaries, faculty members, PhD scholars, and dear students to the National Conference on Management and Technology Applications in a Hybrid Organization, NCMAT 2022, jointly organized by Deccan Education Societies, Naveen Chandra Mehta Institute of Technology and Development, in association with University of Mumbai, Kirti M. Dungarsi College, Jayashree Sharat Chandra Kothari Business School, and Pilot York Vidyalaya Association's Institute of Management. More than a year after the pandemic's global debut, physical interaction is slowly resuming to workplaces in different parts of the world. However, hybrid work is here to stay as remote, and virtual work will continue for many. Now is a good time for executives to start planning what their hybrid organizations will look like and how to manage them. Hybrid work offers a positive employee experience and productivity gains, but those can only be repeated through right technology. It promotes inclusiveness, engagement, and well-being for all employees. This drives an evolution from a location-centric view of where work is done to a more human-centric view of work. Today, for virtual inauguration of 6th National Conference on Management and Technology Applications in a Hybrid Organization, NCMAT 2022, we are blessed with august gathering of dignitaries. Advocate Shri Neil Haekar Sir, Trustee, Deccan Education Society, Management Council Member, University of Mumbai. Dr. Snehalata Deshmukh Ma'am, former Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai, Board Member, Pilot York Vidyalaya Association. Dr. Shriram Nellekar Sir, CEO, Deccan Education Society and Director, DSS, Jayashree Sharat Chandra Kothari Business School. Dr. D.V. Pawar Sir, Principal, Kirti College and Life Member, Deccan Education Society. Dr. D.M. Doke Sir, In Charge Director, PTVAIM Institute of Management. Dr. Samadhan Khamkar Sir, Director, DSS, Naveen Chandra Mehta Institute of Technology and Development. Technology Keynote Speaker, Mr. Kiran Deshpande, Director, 14tree.org and co-founder Mojo Networks. Management Keynote Speaker, Mr. Shakti Lekha, Sales Coach and Mentor for Upgrade. Dr. Anand Hindolia, Conference Convener, NCMAT 2022, PTVA's Institute of Management. Dr. Kasturi Naik, Conference Co-Convener, NCMAT 2022, DSS, Naveen Chandra Mehta Institute of Technology and Development. Dr. Seema Purohit, Principal, DSS, BMCC, and Life Member, Deccan Education Society. I request them to virtually light the digital lamp and let us pray to Goddess Saraswati, the Goddess of Learning.
या कुन्देन्दु तुषारहार धवला या शुभ्रवस्त्रान्विता या वीणां वरदण्डमण्डितकरा या श्वेत पद्मासना या शङ्कर प्रभृतिभिः देवैः सदा पूजिता सा मां पातु सरस्वती भगवती निःशेषजाड्यापहा।
Thank you. I request Dr. Shriram Nellekar sir, CEO, Deccan Education Society and Director, DSS, Jayashree Sharachandra Kothari Business School to welcome the August gathering.
Well, good morning, all the honorable dignitaries, Advocate Shri Neil Hedekar sir, Dr. Snehalata Deshmukh madam, Dr. D.V. Pawar sir, Dr. Doke sir, Dr. Khamkar sir, Mr. Kiran Deshpande, Ms. Shakti Likha, and importantly, of course, the conference conveners who have taken a lot of efforts in putting this entire dream into reality, Dr. Kasturi Naik and Dr. Anand Hindolia, Dr. Seema Purohit Madam, Principal BMCC, all the honorable life members of Deccan Education Society, all the researchers and the faculty members from all over country who have gathered here to contribute their unique creations, thoughts, ideas through this 6th conference organized by Deccan Education Society and PTVA jointly by various institutes along with Mumbai University. It's my privilege to welcome all the luminaries, all the dignitaries who have marked their presence despite of their tremendously busy schedule in this program, inauguration of this program. We all know that teaching, especially in management faculty, may it be the management domain or technology domain, is no longer traditional, is no longer conventional. When we think of a management faculty, it is creation of knowledge equally important, rather these days more important than dissemination of knowledge. And I'm sure all the learned faculty members and researchers who have taken painstaking efforts in putting their hypotheses, putting their ideas through wonderful research papers in this conference are going to add tremendous value to this entire conference. And it's going to result in a huge outcome which will be useful not only to the academic fraternity, but also to the industry and society at large, country at large, the nation at large. Deccan Education Society, existing since last 137 years on the forefront of education, has contributed tremendously and significantly to the society. Upliftment of society, giving the best and the latest knowledge to all the students, and that too at a very affordable price, or affordable, I would say, fees, is the mission of our society. And I'm very happy that all the units are really contributing wonderfully to this mission. This entire day-long event, this day-long conference, I'm sure is going to be a wonderful brainstorming opportunity for all the researchers who have gathered over here. I once again welcome all the dignitaries and all the faculty members and researchers, and look forward to very fruitful and wonderful discussions throughout the day. Thank you once again for your presence and participation. Over to you, Rasika ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Now I request Dr. Samadhan Khamkar sir, Director, DSS, Naveen Chandra Mehta Institute of Technology and Development, to share the journey of 6 years of our national conference, DSS NMITD's NCMAT. Over to Dr. Khamkar sir.
Thank you, Dr. Rasika Malla, madam. Good morning to everyone, respected dignitaries, industry veterans, academicians, research scholars, and students. Namaste. NCMAT, the National Conference on Management and Technology, was one of the initiatives of NMITD. to inculcate an inquiring mind and scientific temper among the MMS and MCA faculties and students. This will give them the necessary rigor, grounding in communication, and strengthen their critical thinking process. Significant evidence knowledge created through academic research in both management and technology clearly demonstrated to organizations valuable insights for managing their businesses. Evidence-based knowledge creation, which is a forte of academic scholars at university worldwide, continues to be the focus of the conferences. The objective of the NCMAT conference is to extend professional guidance and assistance to the research scholars in the area of management sciences and technology application. The very prime objective of NCMAT is to organize national conference every year, so that we can easily encourage the in-house faculty members to publish their work in national and international journals of repute. Another objective of NCMAT is to encourage joint publications and research work by students and faculties through an in-house annual publication. To facilitate joint research work by DS and NMITD with scholars from other institutions around the globe. Also, we wish to invite other research scholars to collaborate with the Institute for research in various domains, maybe cross or interdisciplinary areas. Another objective is to access to the various software, including SPSS, a plagiarism software, which will assist the research scholars in bringing an objectivity in the research. So we want to establish linkages with AICT and other organizations for accessing grants, various workshops, symposiums, and other research initiatives. It is an opportunity to share the progress of NCMAT over the years. We have started NCMAT in the year 2017. In the year 2017, in the very first conference, we have received more than 40 plus research papers. And after doing a thorough analysis of the research papers, we have published these research papers in Journal of Repute with very good impact factor. In the year 2018, we have received more than 50 research papers. In 2019, more than 60 research papers. And today in 2022, we have received more than 90 research papers, 40 plus in technology and 50 plus in management studies. Conference of the NCMAT 2017, that was our first conference, was published with the ISSN number. So slowly, steadily in the year 2018, because of the change in the norm of the UGC, we have started publishing in UGC listed journal. And after that, as per the requirements of the API, we included UGC care listed publication in our conference proceedings. In year 2019, we have gone for UGC care listed journal. And after 2021, or rather from 2021, we have started publishing the papers in Scopus Index, Web of Science, and UGC care listed journal. Basically, this research ecosystem which we have nurtured at NMITD has resulted, very proudly I like to tell you, have resulted in 6 PhDs since 2016, and 2 faculty members have submitted their thesis, and very soon they will be a doctorate. Our future plan is to include international collaboration with universities and institutions abroad. So with this, once again, I welcome you all and look forward to the blessings and guidance from all the veterans present over here. Thank you once again.
Thank you, sir. I now request great academician and former Vice Chancellor of University of Mumbai, Board Member, Parliamentary Vidyalaya Association, Dr. Snehalata Deshmukh ma'am, to address the August gathering.
with me who felt that a surgeon can also tell you a few things in her profession. That's what I close here. And I always either start my speech in Marathi or I end up my speech in Marathi. Here I didn't start in Marathi. So Marathi is my mother tongue. And the speech in mother tongue or the exchange of ideas in mother tongue go to the heart. So the heart has a sino-auricular node, and that sino-auricular node, once it is stimulated, it grasps everything. The heart rate also is properly done. So let me give you blessings, first in Sanskrit and then in Marathi. Tushtirasthu, Pushtirasthu, Arogyamastu. What we need is good health, Arogya. So everybody will have a good health and the brain will function better. तुमचं यश निर्विवाद, माझे तुम्हाला आशीर्वाद. Because now I am at an age where I will be able to give Ashirvad. So you will all succeed and God will help you to succeed in all endeavors that you take. Thank you very much.
Thank you, ma'am, for your blessings and for your suggestions. You are the role model for us. We read your books always. Thank you, ma'am. It's my pleasure and honor to welcome the keynote speaker for technology, Mr. Kiran Deshpande, sir. Mr. Deshpande, sir, has an illustrious career spanning over 4 decades. Mr. Deshpande is presently director 14tree.org. He is also the board member of TIE Global and IIT Mumbai Alumni Association. He was president for TIE Pune, board advisor, angel investor, senior member IEEE, co-founder Mojo Networks, and he is also a charter member for TIE Pune. Mr. Deshpande is a high-performance leader whose expertise is in entrepreneurship, fundraising, R&D, and community development. Shri Deshpande, sir, we are all eager to know more about technology applications in hybrid organization. Sir, the virtual stage is all yours.
Thank you, Rasika. Namaskar, good morning, and also good afternoon, good evening in case somebody is logging from other parts of the world. My special thanks to the organizers and to the honorable contributors, dignitaries who lit the virtual lamp, and also the conveners, the organizers of this conference. Is the first time for me. Also to my lovely faculty and students. Sometimes I feel I love being among academics and researchers. At times I feel that I'm a academician who stayed into a wonderland or a bad land of business. But it's always good to be among. Yesterday I was at the Gokhale Institute of Economics in Pune for a brainstorming workshop. It's always very enriching to be among researchers. I've been one myself. I want to sort of put some simple things or share them with all of you. Technology is a very broad word. It encompasses many things. My experience is very limited to computers and associated stuff with computers, be it devices, be it electronics, be it software, and all of it together. The only thing that is very useful today for all of us is computing, and within that software is kind of becoming an enabler or enabling technology, whether you're looking at telecommunication, whether you're looking at power production, we are looking at transportation, we are looking at anything else. a lot of these are enabled, powered by computing technology. And therefore, whatever we do in this limited area, if I can still use a limited term, has a far-reaching impact everywhere else. Before I go into details, I want to just mention one thing here. I have never separated technology and management from the day one. I joined TCS as a what we would call as a graduate trainee in 1978 after coming out of IIT Bombay. And this was a TCS at that time was probably less than 300 or 400 people or 500 maximum. And we were from different batches of IITs, different disciplines. We had a decent infusion of some friends from IIMs, Berkeley, and stuff like that. And our former CEO, Mr. Kohli, who was the founder who grew the company in the early stages, was very proud of the fact. He said, my IIM people are very good technologists and my IIT people are very good business people. So it cannot be separated. And if you see technology industry, be it the Silicon Valley startups or the big companies or software industry here in India, you will see most of them are technologists with engineering, computer science degree who have played the role of management. So technology and management are not separable, at least according to me. If you're doing research and you have a research grant, you better have your numbers right in terms of where is your capital expenditure, how you're spending, where you're going to save, because everything is, there's a measure and there is optimization. Even if you're in a government organization, there's a grant that comes to you. Rasika, can you hear me? Because I saw myself frozen.
Yes, sir. You had just a small pause in between, but now you're audible.
Okay, so if it happens again, I'm going to just go off the video and then come back again whenever if there is a problem.
Okay.
So to me, these two are not separable, and whether you are in the technology stream or you're in the management stream, as long as you can comprehend the other side to deliver whatever you're doing, that'll be good. Splitting them, and I'll come back to it a little bit later. I want to give you a little snapshot of computing history in about 30 seconds. If you see, computers are not new. Then they are relatively young as compared to other forms of technology, but they're over 70 years now. Even the first mainframe is now senior citizen, if I can use that term. So computers are not new, and digital computers actually hit the market in the 70s. So, but some critical pieces along the journey from say 50s, 60s, when there were vacuum tubes, to today, computers were in big glass houses, as all of us know. They were expensive and they were only used for very specific applications to begin with, scientific application. Some of you probably know that internet, what we see today, its genesis is in a network that was used by researchers to collaborate and communicate with each other for a long period of time before internet came into the civilian world. So, computers and communication have been around for a long period of time. What made the difference was when computers came on our desktop, where I had a machine for myself to do my stuff. That grew a set of applications. That also grew some of the applications which were useful for people who are working in the office, be it spreadsheet, be it document, be it any of that. The next set of evolution came when computers found themselves inside telephones. And that's when we connected communication and computing together. And if I can say, a mobile phone today is a grandchild of a laptop that did, or a desktop that did many things except phone calls. And it does all of those things, plus, a few other nice topping like camera and few other things. So This journey from big machines to personal computers to mobile computers like a laptop to mobile phones is a massive journey. And in this journey, the computing power has gone up, and with that has gone up the applications. And unless you can conceptualize applications that bring value, and I'm not defining value in monetary terms, it could be many other terms, all this technology use is, it would not be the best use of the technology. Going forward, one of the things that has happened was there was a time when computers were very special because you could only run a Fortran program. And who runs a Fortran program? Someone who is doing scientific computing. World doesn't do scientific computing, only special set of people do it. And therefore, it was okay to be complex. Today, my grandmother is not alive, but were she alive today, she'd probably have a smartphone and she would do an online payment. And that needs to be simple. And today's technology is anything but simple. I'll give you an example. Me and my wife know a retired professor of botany in Pune with a good subtle sense of humor. And she told me some time back, she said, it took me a few weeks to figure out that browsing was not going around in a jungle or a garden, looking at the leaves and the trees and all of that stuff, but something on the network, which we call as internet. So we tend to use many terms, many things which are natural to us in computing, but not natural to the world that has not used computing. And these are, I'm talking of a professor. So we're not talking of some person who's not educated. So computing and applications need to be simple. A good example of a very simple application today is the mobile payment. The whole architecture that was put in, where you can transfer money from any account to any account with some amount of checks and balances, has moved the world of financial transactions way forward. And it can happen in 2 to 3 seconds, and it can be done by anyone. That is amazingly simple. There are many other applications of computing that are not simple. Any of you have run into a chat box, know that how stupid or unsophisticated today's chat boxes are. They will get better, but those are not something that appeal to many people. You take some other applications, sometimes we end up overusing computer. Try and do an airline booking today, and the number of SMSs you get will just bewilder you. Somebody has not designed these systems to be simple. You can create a monster out of technology if you don't make it simple. Next 20, 30 years or whatever time you take, the organizations that are going to be successful are going to be organizations that will make customer experience pleasure. And therefore, the technology has a lot of responsibility to keep these things simple. So those are some of the things. I want to talk a little bit about AI today. And I think before we started the conference, Dr. Deshmukh was talking about robotics and how easy it has become. And those are great strides that robotics and AI have done. Having said that, some of you may or may not know, and the gentleman that Dr. Deshmukh was mentioning about having written a book on AI. AI is actually more than 70 years old. And it has taken that technology that much time before the computing was available. But do not use the AI for the sake of AI. I see today many startups try to put AI when they don't need all that stuff. It's like trying to take an aircraft engine onto a Maruti car or a small car. It's going to give you more headaches than increase your speed or do anything else. So if your spreadsheet is going to give you statistical functions that meet your requirement, please use that. That's a smarter use of technology than putting AI in front of it. Having said that, AI can solve problems that have remained unsolved right now. And therefore, digital transformation that we talk about, and I may not have time to talk about digital transformation today, but AI can play a very, very significant role. Keep it simple, keep it easy, keep it intuitive, any of that stuff. Last couple of points I want to mention here. somehow there is a feeling today that things can happen quickly. AI is a good example of how long sometimes it takes. And if some of you know that there were two streams of AI, one was anchored around programming, saying that if you can program intelligently, you'll create intelligence. And the other stream was look at the brain, organize your computers like a brain is organized, and it'll deliver intelligence. We don't know how it works, but we know its structure, create that structure. And the second part actually is bringing a lot of value today, but was suffering for over 25, 30 years because the mainstream did not accept. So sometimes technology can get a lot of time. I'll give you another example. Database technology, relational database technology especially, the research paper was published in 1971. And the first implementation of a large-scale relational database in a financial institution was around mid to late 80s. So it took about 15 years for some of those technologies. Technologies can take time, but that's fine. Taking a cricket analogy, whether you're playing a T20, you're playing a one-day match, or you're in a 5-day match, and you have to, time is critical. So assess all of that. And those are all management disciplines. Those are all management. So technology cannot be separated from management. Many times you hear this title called CTO, Chief Technology Officer. That's a management role with technology infused in it. Vice President, Product Management is again a half management, half technology role. So don't split these two things. You have researchers, you have faculty, and I think Rasika mentioned about entrepreneurship. I run into many entrepreneurs, there are 2 or 3 founders who come to me and said, he looks after or she looks after technology, I looked after operations, and so on and so forth. In a startup, in an entrepreneurship, we want Kapil Dev's, Ravindra Jadeja's. Also, sometimes we need a Tendulkar who can bowl also, very effective bowling. But so we need cross-functional expertise. And sometimes it can go beyond what you can imagine. To give you one example, natural language processing. To me, a dream, for example, Snehata, Dr. Deshmukh, she said that my mother tongue is Marathi. Just imagine 10 years from now, she's speaking in Marathi, and somebody in Italy takes that in Italian, all done by technology, with tonality, with everything, her style, her emotions, everything done. So it requires what? It requires signal processing, it requires language processing, it requires social context, it requires management, and some of these are hard problems to crack. And these problems don't get cracked by splitting technology applications, all of this together. It requires an overall wholesome approach with smart people who come together, who understand each other. They may be good in one, but they can do other things, especially for the entrepreneurship. So those are very, very important. So if you are at a research level, if you're doing all of those things, make sure that you build many of these things. Faculty also, you may have particular area in which you have research and everything, but knowing everything else is very good. And I sometimes thank where I did my graduation from. I'm from BITS Pilani, and when after about 10 years coming out of the college, I was looking at the courses we did. Nearly 70% of a BA honors courses we had. We had sociology, we had political science, we had modern constitution, we had philosophy, modern philosophy, we had economics, 3 courses. So when Reserve Bank of India governor talks about M1, M2, M3, I go back to my 3rd year. Professor God taught me about economics. So it is actually multidisciplinary. So you may have one profession, but as a professional, you need to know everything else. And I will end my talk here saying that we are one of the few economies of our size growing at 8.5%, 9%. That is like Silicon Valley of the 70s and 80s. So we have to be a lot smarter across the board, exactly like our cricket team. They are way smarter than most of their opponents. Are we as smart as our opponents? Are we smarter than Japanese? Are we smarter than Americans, especially in Silicon Valley? Are we smarter than folks in Cambridge? Are we smarter than folks anywhere else? We have to measure up to that point, bring all of this together, because the opportunity for many of you is tremendous. I wish I was 35 years younger, where I could take these opportunities and create a massive, good organization, either institution or business or something. So that's the opportunity we have. I want to end here. Thank you very much for inviting me, sharing my thoughts. Rasika has my contact details. Feel free to reach out to me. I may not be that communicative right away, because sometimes, two things happen. One is the schedule. Second is we are not 30 plus. I'm running 67. So once in a while, I just take liberty or I don't respond to things. But please reach out to me for whatever help I can provide. Thank you very much. And all of you have a wonderful conference. And thank you all.
Thank you, sir. It was really the innovative, thought-giving keynote speech. Now, I take this opportunity to welcome on the virtual stage keynote speaker for management track, Shri Shakti Lekha, an industry expert, sales coach, and mentor for Upgrade. Mr. Lekha has worked with various global Fortune 500 European and US companies in leadership roles. Mr. Shakti Lekha is a sales and marketing guru, an inspirational and visionary business leader with expertise in driving business transformation. Mr. Lekha is an engineering graduate with management education and has the expertise in area of sales and marketing. He believes that India would be a global superpower by 2030, and he is passionate about B2B structured selling. He is the acclaimed author of award-winning book Reimagine High Value Sales. He is associated with various educational institutes as the member of Board of Studies and honorary member of National Council for Green and Eco-Friendly Movement at ASSOCHAM. He is also the mentor for change. Lekha sir, the virtual stage is all yours.
Yeah. Good morning. Can you all hear me?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
I'm audible. Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, and thank you very much for inviting me at this forum and an August forum of researchers. It's my pleasure to be part of this very August forum where Mumbai University and Deccan University have collaborated to create this forum. Now, I believe my presentation is also, I will carry out a 10-slide presentation with you because I said that would keep my thoughts moving in a structured manner. So the future of the nation, we all have been saying the country, before me, Kiran Deshpandeji spoke about 9% growth over the base which we have and the population we have. So this all can only happen, this can only turn into reality if the youth of nation thinks the same as what we are all aspiring to be. Their aspiration will turn into reality, and what they dream will turn into reality. That is what is going to shape the future of India now. So the youth needs not just to be future ready, but future fit. Who would have imagined this type of crisis which we all have gone through? So this really demands that everybody today is future ready, not just future ready and future fit, both. So the economy and society both are changing, and the landscape is changing thanks to science and technology. And what major thing which we all have seen over these years and the last decade in aggressive fashion, which is changing the world, is digitization, which many speakers spoke before me as well, talking about how technology is shaping the world. Today, we all are on this call. It's a virtual. Came out when I at least came out when India was getting liberalized. So I was fortunate to see what many people before me wouldn't have been able to, which was more of a government or a license Raj world, and a world where I turned around, where we could see MNCs, Indian companies, and many private companies also taking charge of that very situation, because the opportunity had just busted, because the liberalization had just taken in place. So that was a time where the science of management again became very, very critical, because it was not a demand supply simple equation as law of economics, but had become very complex because of the various brands being into play. The capacity was not a constraint when you said the global market has opened up. So that was a change which happened at those times. And again, looking at 2 decades from that very point of liberalization, we have reached a point where we are saying the world has become absolutely cutthroat. You need to have something unique. You need to create value for customers. Then only you survive. That's the reason why we are all saying jobs need to be created. We need job creators more than anybody else. So that is what the startup world is, which is what we saw 2016 from Prime Minister's office, the focus coming out, the Niti Aayog trying to drive this concept. So this is what has started taking shape. And I'm proud to say you have seen 15,000 startups in these COVID times, which have come in. And they are creating jobs. They are working on areas which we haven't thought of. They are bringing changes which we really don't have envisaged in our plans. You can see in my background a logo moving around. So I'm associated with this startup, which is also turning the whole paradigm of how the offices work and how people visit into offices, how visitors are welcome. So if you ask me in a crude form, what we are doing is we are converting what used to be a register in an office where you used to write your name into an electronic thing with authentication happening. So that is what people have got opportunities on, and people have the headroom to play around for. Then we again see another, because I'm talking about this because 2 days back we had election results. So I'm bringing how policy making, how changes across those politics is also changing. We are all moving into a very mature political environment where performance now counts. And this type of a environment, which is now getting cleaner every day, by the day, I should say. So maybe 30 years back, none of us would have dreamt if we could look at politics as an option, but today's youth can, because the things are getting cleaner and we only have to bring the change. So there we again see a mix which can bring the envisioning of the youth can bring the change there as well. The most important thing when you talk about technology is now we are talking about innovation index. Earlier we were saying bring technology from abroad, make it here, or do some job work and take it back. Now we are saying we make it out of India. We don't just make it, but the products get inspired, developed, innovated out of India. And that is what you can see in our innovation ranking, which has started coming in. We were at 81 rank in 2015. Now we stand 49. So that's the progress. And while all these changes happen, I just want to make you really buoyant about it. We are all not just leapfrogging or moving in the right direction. We are doing pole vaulting. Huh? So if you can understand from the picture, it's like high jump. You take a pole and then take a large jump, and the changes are visible in front of you. Whoever would have started career 10 years, 15 years back, knew how difficult it is to get mobile phones or the charges in the mobile, the data packages. And you've seen how Jio has transformed the whole thing. Today, we are talking about digital education. I'm part of Upgrad, which you know is a digital platform, does education on digital platform, and we are a global learning and a lifelong learning platform. So this is possible only thanks to Jio being there, or somebody who's providing data availability at such prices whereby you are able to democratize education, and education for all is not a dream, distant dream, but it's a reality. Then you saw the change of Aadhaar. So Aadhaar has got got linked with Jan Dhan, and the money transfer can happen. Hence, you see the corruption getting down, the direct money transfer thing. Demonetization, everybody is aware of what it has brought in. The paperless money thing. Who would have thought a company like Paytm could become that big, and they can even dream of it being a decathlon, which is like $10 billion plus valuation, equivalent to an LIC type of a company, which was a 70, 80-year-old company when I was born. Still, my father also had LIC policy. So it's 3 generations moving company, equivalent. You could develop a digital organization. So that's where the whole environment is changing, and there's a great opportunity for the youth. I still say the $1 trillion company is yet to be born, and could be that somebody on this call would have that aspiration, and could be that that company gets born and it can be a global company and gives pride to the whole nation. The other opportunity, which is agricultural reforms, which is another area, because India being agricultural country, because earlier we were all, the whole economy was dominated by them. Still, we have the major substantial portion dominated by them. Beyond that, on the GDP terms, the real value is that 60% of the population still is dependent on this model. Hence, to unlock the real value, we have to see that we bring the income levels in this drastically up. They need to really go 2 times or 3 times. So how do you bring that? Maybe by crop mix, by looking at quality parameters. There are young startups, again, where I'm mentoring, which are working on sensing the product quality. Today, we buy an apple. I really don't know what it gives, what is there in that apple. So that type of sensors, they have created some portable. So this is just, I'm sharing some confidential data. So that type of a thing we are working on, whereby a farmer today doesn't have such tools. Then you can classify your food produce, grade it in different levels, and then the real marketing fund starts using technology. Direct to consumer also is possible now. So not just B2B, but these farmers can directly reach to consumer, which is what we have seen in COVID times. Farm produce directly coming to apartments and complexes directly. So the possibilities are unlimited. The models will come. Today, you just know Amazon's could be bigger organizations than Amazon are bound out of India in few years' time, because we still have youth population. The demographic advantage is with us, and we are all banking on unlocking the same. People like me who have nor in the youth segment, nor in the super senior citizen segment, but somewhere in the middle, have taken this charge. If we can contribute in bringing this change and developing this out, we will be more than pleased to be part of it. And this graph I wanted to share because this is most critical. This will tell you how the nation has moved and how our journey has been over the years. When we got independence, it was more of individual excellence. Then the whole nation derived on a value which Nehruji clearly defined of self-reliance. So that's the way that the whole thing. And then somewhere in 70s, when all IITs were formed, we had that ISRO getting into the real swing. So that was the time when we said we want to be a technically driven nation, and we got into that very mode. Come 1990 and beyond, while we were becoming an IT superpower, there were concepts of IP and that is intellectual property getting registered, patents getting filed. You even have global R&D companies coming down to India and working on. So that time, India got into this thought of being leaders in intellectual property. And I should say, we are talking about Pune Deccan being from Pune. Pune hosts Dr. Mashalkar. Mashalkar Saab is Pune based, and he is one of the torch bearers of saying science and technology, and Dr. Vijay Bhatkar also, which I believe you all would know, the man who created the Param, the CDAC, the supercomputer. So this is, fortunately, on this call, we have done Pune, Mumbai University combined. So I'm saying this land, Pune, Mumbai corridor, owns that very concept of science and technology and management amalgamation. And Kiran Deshpande ji is also one of the senior leaders of that very thought, being part of TCS and who has brought that very change and still part of TIE. So such things will now shape up in a larger form with such mentors in place and the youth participating in a form which we all want them to, and more risk-taking ability in the whole economy is there. Hence, the whole change is really evident. And researchers like you who are preparing papers would also contribute in this, while we get the great documentation skills which are required while we file our IPs and other rights. Then another thing which I wanted to just touch upon with everyone, because this is very important, because while youth takes on, he needs to understand that uncertainty is the new normal. His life will always be uncertain. See, when we were born, we were told, "Pakki nokri le lo, kaam kar lo, life is settled." But for youth, I'm telling it will never happen. Forget that dream. You will never settle. Because that's the way the world would be. Because there will be technology disruptions. The organizations will die if they don't transform themselves. So if you say you have settled, then you will die with the organization. So earlier the life of an organization was 60 years or 70 years. Now it has reduced. Average life is not more than 15 years. So that's the way the world is transforming. And the way you need to change is you all need to be skill driven, and the whole economy will be skill driven. So you need to think about what's the skill which you will work on, and how you will, over the period of 30 years or 35 years of your working life, keep developing new skills all across. So lifelong learning is what is going to be. In a very crude example, I can tell you, ek jamana tha, 3 years, 4 years, 4 generations back, if you go, we used to have our surnames also talking about what profession we are. So that used to identify this man, his grandfather used to do this, he's doing the same thing. Come our parents' age, we saw loyalty, they kept on working wherever they were working. Come my age, I worked for 6-7 organizations in life. Right now I do multiple assignments with multiple companies. So if you ask me, over a period of 25 years of my career, I've worked with more than 12 organizations. So that's the way the thing has changed. And the way it would be in next generation, you would not work with various organizations, but work in various sectors and various job roles with different skill set requirements. So that's the way things are changing, is what I want to tell you. Hence, the lifelong learning will always remain. And few things which adversities have taught me, which we all need to focus on. One is the attitude and having the feeling of gratitude. Then work on skills and keep innovating and keep changing. So whatever has worked for you is no guarantee that it will work in future. This was what I really shared, because I do have my own book which I had written on sales, which has done very well. It is an Amazon bestseller, plus this year got a Golden Book Award. So as a business management book, which is Reimagine High Value Sales. Because my vision for writing this book was sharing my own stories of life stories of B2B selling, where in various corporates I have done that. Plus to tell, because if India has to be a $5 trillion economy and we have to be a superpower, then B2B needs to be prime, because exports is all B2B. The TCS would appreciate, because that whole model is B2B. So that there is where this book helps anybody to master the art of B2B selling, because that's a different art altogether. Because here you don't have a single man taking a decision, and it's never an impulsive buy. Like what happens when you buy ice cream or a chocolate, which is a B2C, you build up a brand, and that because an impulsive availability is there that the person buys. Unlike a B2B, which is a complex sale where multiple decision makers are involved, and you need to maneuver your deal, position the product right, get the right perception matrix, and get the politics of the game right, so that you are able to achieve what you want to achieve at the end of the deal. This is again bringing back to that very concept of how innovation and change is critical, and how it works. It works with teamwork and collaboration, then requires communication. And this is a level where when you are at there, you get into a, when these things are there, you get into a safety net type of a zone, comfort zone, and then interpersonal trust is there. And this is where typically many organizations get down to and reach an end here. Beyond this, you require active listening and empathy while you work. So these are the few management logics which I wanted to share. So this is very critical, but it happens naturally in our process. But just to share with you, this would be critical while we unlock or try and do innovations, because while we do innovations, it looks very jazzy and very glamorous. But to tell you, out of 100, only 2 succeed. So we need to have this active listening and empathy in the whole system to appreciate that failure or celebrate that failure, that culture needs to come on. So this is where I really tell you that you are very, very vulnerable while you're working on such stuff. Then self-reflection, self-awareness is needed. And that is what I call the adult development capability then comes on. And then you need to manage that. So this is what I just wanted to share with you so that this is known to everyone, because this whole innovation will require a different, not just skill set game, but a mindset game as well. So this is more to do with the mindset. And typically a majority of us close on at psychological safety and interpersonal trust, which is done, and then don't get into what is known as that active listening and empathy, which would be needed while we convert and get into this cycle of innovation and understanding the vulnerability and being self-aware what my strengths are, and to keep doing self-reflection. So that's the where people say founder, co-founder, what you look for, and what type of a gelling you need, which is very critical in entrepreneurship. So this slide just wanted to talk on that and touch upon that point. And maybe this is a subject by itself, which can go on and on. Then there's another concept which many people would have heard about, Ikigai, which is my favorite concept to talk about, because now after reaching a maturity level in economics and lifestyles and everything, now we all have the liberty to really look at Ikigai, and that's the way world has to be looked for and looked at. Ikigai becomes more and more critical, because what we did in first three industrial revolutions is have created a world which may not survive next 100 years, if you all know the climate change challenge which we all have put across to. So at this time, while we are trying to address this problem with various COP conventions which are happening, everybody is signing on sustainability, saying recycling, circular economy, and climate change and renewable energy. So the most important thing is why this all happened is because of greed of us. Let's be real. As sales guys also, I can tell you how we used to incentivize sales guys, sell more, earn more. Now sell more, somebody may not need, but you still kept on pushing it. I had a research paper done with one of our lighting expert who's part of this very convention also. So there we were just joking that when conventional lighting was there, the bosses used to keep pushing selling lamps. Keep selling lamps, you're pushing mercury, more pollution, but nobody was bothered about that. So from that point to where we are now, saying conserve, save, protect, the whole environment has changed. And at this juncture, Ikigai becomes more and more prevalent. So people have to understand we are not to chase what everybody is chasing. Chase and get to know what's your reason of being. Get your mission, get your what you love very clearly defined in life, what you are good at, what the world needs, and what you can be paid for. And if you do these four things, you will get to know the intersection point of what you love and what you are good at is your passion point. And what the world needs and what you love, that intersection is the mission. And similarly, what you can be paid for and what you are good at can be your profession. So that's the way you need to really find out. And the full intersection point of all these four subsets is your Ikigai, the point where you will be most excited and the point for which you are in this world. And the youth of today can do it right away. Guys like us, or me at least, for I can say speak for me, have realized it after 22 years of my career. Till 22 years, I was doing a rat race. Let me be very clear, a corporate rat race. The 22nd year, I realized that. 23rd year, I wrote my book. 24th year, I came out of the corporate life, and I'm doing what I love today. So that's what I'm trying to say. A youth, before he starts his career, can look at this. And then this will help him devise his career planning, his life planning. And he will not just be mentally stable all his life. or I should say, mentally delighted about whatever he's producing, doing, and excited about it. Just another slide which I had put in just to give a thought, because sales, many professions, people have understood differently, but my classification, or which is covered in my book, which I call my own patent, is I classify sales into 7 skills, with 7 skill levels available. So every sales guy starts as a teller, talks about technical features, product features which are given, and then then gets into a seller mode, which is what I call, where he gets into solutioning the for the customer needs. Then hunter is a level where he gets into competitive fight, understands how the landscape is, who else is there, and manage it, and then manage the customer, map it right, understand economic buyer, user buyer, technical buyer, various people in the whole decision-making process, and control the whole process, and then win the game. Farmer, people know this is more of an account management, or doing the repetitive, being closer to the customer, getting his needs, and then. So these are 4 levels where 98%, or I should say 99.99% of the sales guys end their career at. Because a designation like VP sales is typically telling me that somebody is good at hunting skills. His skill level is somewhere mix of hunting and a farming skill. That's the skill level which the best of the sales guys reach in their career. But there are 3 more skills which are very clearly required. And I urge all people who want to develop their career need to get there, because this will only help us, or help Indian economy, help Indian brands to be super brands, and create the economic difference which the nation wants to create for the world. That's the business developer skill, which is like creating the demand. You need to understand and create demand for a product, because other skills are typically managing what I say is a demand, or people call it I wrote a spec, that itself has created demand. That's not demand, business developer skill. We can get deep into that sometime later. And then there's a partnering skill, which means you don't sell, you partner. That's what you see with consulting companies, the partners doing it. They don't sell, they help businesses to grow. And then by the way, the selling happens. An industry network consultant is somebody like Bill Gates or Steve Jobs. They are not here to sell. They themselves are brand, and it's stars. I call it Kapil Dev. In my classic case, where in Bajaj I was there, so I was heading the lighting as a CMO. I used to tell them, I don't know if you know, Kapil Dev owns a lighting company also. He represents an Australian lighting company, sports lighting company. So when sales guys used to come and tell me, sir, we are fighting against that company, I tell him, if Kapil Dev himself is coming, you have lost the order. Because he himself is a network consultant, because he knows stadiums. He's the guy who has played cricket. And if he talks about this works right, that works, whatever. So that very feel gives an authority feel, and then that changes the dynamics. So that's the highest level of a selling a professional can ever reach in his career. So that's what I call the skill levels which are required. And the way these things have changed during these times is, earlier selling was like meeting the demand, what was there in the market. But now the buyer, the whole seller and buyer equation has transformed. The buyer has become more empowered because he has all the information available in the world. I still remember when I was selling televisions way back in the early 90s, I used to make the bus drivers who used to take ST buses into remote towns, remote villages as my advocacy points. Because गांव वाले के लिए सबसे बड़ा इंटेलिजेंट आदमी होता था वो बस ड्राइवर, because वो शहर कोल्हापुर जा रहा है या वो आज नांदेड़ जा रहा है from a village town, and whatever information he brings, the villagers or sarpanch used to trust that. So that time you didn't have any other source of information for a buyer, and the brand image influencers in those days could be the bus drivers, the ST bus drivers, I'm just telling you. But the whole environment today has changed. You don't even require sales guy to give you an information. It is all available on the web, and you can create all comparisons, understand. So the world has, and the whole products across the world are available to you. So you know it has become very competitive. You can reach it, you can buy it. Everything is possible. So challenges which this has brought in is today a seller or a sales skill which a normal person had may not work, because he now today needs to be a specialist so that he's able to add value for a buyer. No more an information giver, because a catalog sales guy has lost his value. So it's dead and over, dusted. Then the whole selling process has become socially, digitally connected. So social influencers play a lot, and sales process need to today map with the buyer journey mapping. How does the buyer go? What all he does? Where all he gets influenced. So whole his thought process mapping, the journey mapping needs to be done. Skill set needed, obviously, needs the crafting of the message has changed. It cannot be that very simple of saying ting tong and then giving out your message. Now you have to focus on a buyer and get an emotional connect with the buyer for whatever product you are trying to sell. And there is a concept of a lifetime management of customer which has started happening. Well, it was a transaction driven world. Now it's a lifetime customer management. Hence, you see in a B2B modeling, there's a big concept which has started coming in, which is known as SaaS. So, or as SaaS, everything as a service. So if you ask me to buy a house tomorrow, the next generation may not buy a house. They will say, I want it as a service. So I will stay for the days which I'm there. I'll pay you for those. So the whole model may change that very day. So, and this is the age of an empowered customer, and we all have to adapt to the empowered buyer while we all do selling. So this is what I want to tell you, because many management guys would have studied in today's environment those books, but trust me, while you are on the street, you will find a totally different environment. So be ready for it. It's a buyer's world today. And same goes with marketing professionals. They get excited with clicks, views. That's basics here. Then a matured marketing says, I built up a brand, I got this revenue. But where the enlightened marketing is today going as a brand, what am I delivering for the world? What's my mission? What's my vision? Or say like what Infosys today connects with everybody, or TCS connects with, or the Tata Group connects with everyone. Why? That is where the enlightened marketing is happening, and the group fortunately has right core values in place which they can talk, and that's the reason they're able to bring the difference, not just for the consumer but for the community as a large. So this is what I wanted to share with you all over this forum, and then wanted to tell each guy in youth he needs to work on something called as a leadership legacy, what he stands for, what does he want to bring to the table, what is his mission of life. So what is the differentiation he wants to bring to the world, and what is his differentiation, what is his signature style. So those stuff he can do that, and similarly I have done it personally for myself. So this brings clarity in your life and purpose in your life, what you want to do, and objectivity as well, so you don't get diluted in your path while you're doing anything. And anybody has any time anything to reach out to me, these are my connects. They can, and my book is also available at any point if sales guys, marketing guys wants to go through that. Thank you very much for inviting me, and thanks Rasika for such a humbling introduction which you gave. I hope this was of value for all. Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. It was really the wonderful presentation and management keynote speech. Now I request Dr. Renuka Sawant, Madam, Assistant Professor, MMS HR Department, DSS NMITD, to deliver vote of thanks.
Thank you, Dr. Rasika ma'am. First and foremost, namaste and a very good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. It is indeed our honor and privilege to host all the conference delegates of the 6th NCMAT 2022. This conference wouldn't have been possible without the endless efforts of the NCMAT team. First and foremost, we extend our sincere gratitude to the Honorable Vice Chancellor, University of Mumbai, Professor Suhas Pednekar sir, and Honorable Pro Vice Chancellor, Professor Ravindra Kulkarni sir, and the entire Management Council of the University of Mumbai for their association in NCMAT 2022. We are grateful to the entire management of the Deccan Education Society for their very proactive support, especially our visionary chairman, DES trustee and management council member of University of Mumbai, Advocate Srinil Hedekar sir, for his constant motivation and guidance throughout the process. We are thankful for the leadership of Dr. Sriram Nerlekar sir, CEO DES and Director JSKBS, Life Member DES and Principal Kirti College, Dr. D.V. Pawar sir, Life Member DES and Vice Principal Kirti College, Dr. Meenal Mapuskar madam, along with the two academic leaders of NMITD, Dr. Samadhan Thamkar sir and Dr. Rasika Malya ma'am, and the conference convener of NCMAT 2022, Dr. Kasturi Naik, for their inspiring mentorship. We are thankful to the entire management of Parle Tilak Vidyalaya Association's Institute of Management for their support throughout NCMAT 2022. We express our gratitude towards the very inspirational words of Dr. Snehalata Deshmukh ma'am, board member PTVA, Dr. D.M. Doke sir, in charge director PTVA's Institute of Management, and Dr. Anand Hindolia sir, co-convener NCMAT 2022, for their active collaboration. We are extremely grateful to the insightful address given by both the keynote speakers, Mr. Kiran Deshpande sir, director 14tree.org and co-founder Mojo Networks, along with Mr. Shakti Likha, industry experts, sales coach and mentor for Upgrad. We are thankful for the presence and guidance of our session chairs for NCMAT 2022, Dr. Tarun Agarwal, Professor and HOD, Banking and Finance with the NL Dalmia Institute of Management Studies and Research, along with Dr. Harshali Patil, Associate Professor, MCA Department with the MET Institute. We wish to place on record the relentless hard work and dedication of the core committee of the NCMAT team, consisting of the committee, registration committee, the publication committee, the editorial committee, and the back-end and the front-end committee. NCMAT is a platform for the researchers to brainstorm, ponder, discuss, and deliberate on the current topic. And we take this opportunity to thank all the participants from Pan India for their very, very active participation and engagement. Thank you so very much. Now we shall take a 10-minute break before we commence the parallel tracks of technology and management. The track links have been shared both on the WhatsApp chat and the email IDs by the respective track moderators. However, there is a slight change with the technology track starting in 10 minutes at 12 p.m. and the management track starting at 12 p.m. The session links have been shared. You can check once again. Thank you very much. We appreciate your presence and cooperation for this event.
I would like to ask one question.
Thank you.
Regarding the management link,